bringing you the news and information you need from the people making a difference. This is Comcast Newsmakers.
Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Basikia, and this is Comcast Newsmakers Campaign 2004. And this hour's newsmaker, George Ajjan. He's the Republican Party candidate for United States Congress in New Jersey's 8th District. We're going to talk about his campaign. It's good to have you here, sir.
Likewise, Joe. Thank you.
When we talk about your district, it's northern Essex and southern Passaic.
Yes.
When we think about your district, we're talking about a lot of population.
Absolutely.
How would you describe it?
It's, well, first thing that comes to mind is it's very multi-ethnic. Very interesting that probably only half the district is really Caucasian. There's a very large Latino population. There's a large African-American population. There's a large Arab-American and Asian population. So it's a candidate to be successful there has got to be able to reach out across all those ethnic lines and show that he's capable of relating to all the residents of the district.
Now, George, as a representative of them all, how important is your listening skills and your dedication to take that with you into Washington?
Oh, that's one of the most critical things. You know, we've been going door to door with the campaign, talking to people, distributing our literature. We've got literature, multilingual literature, because there's a lot of people that are naturalized citizens in the area. It's a lot of blue-collar areas. So, you know, people are really concerned about, you know, job security and health care and their taxes. So we talk to them on a very individual basis, going door to door and really listening to their concerns, as you said.
Public trust. Obviously, you build it on a one-on-one level, but how do you see fostering that in Washington?
Well, it's about setting an example with the way you run a campaign. Now, I have said from the beginning, Joe, that I refuse to accept one penny from any corporation, political action committee, special interest group, lobbyist, which stands in stark contrast to my opponent, Bill Pascrell, and basically most of the people in Congress, because their campaigns are propped up year after year by corporations, by special interests, by lobbyists, and that's got to go. Because what happens is when they're sitting there in Washington, they end up forsaking the interests of their constituents in exchange for the big contribution checks they expect from the corporations and the lobbyists in the next election cycle, and that is not what the Constitution says. The Constitution says we the people, not we the corporations and the lobbyists.
What about taxation? Obviously, people are paying to make this government work, and we have to. Are you hearing any complaints in regard to that? I'm sure you probably are.
Look, you know, the property tax situation is absolutely out of control. And there's a number of reasons for that. Number one, it's the corruption on the state level. But number two, our federal representatives have failed to bring back the necessary money from Washington to fund some of the improvements and projects that we have going on here in New Jersey. So somebody has to pay for that stuff, and it ends up being shoveled down to the state, county, and local levels. So we need a representative that's clearly focused on bringing back that necessary share of our federal income tax dollars back to the district, and that's what I intend to work towards very hard. As
you meet the good people of the districts, are you hearing anything about health care? Is that an issue that's a hot one?
It certainly is. You know, we've got the high cost of health care. There's an increasing number of uninsured Americans, and it's a critical concern. That's why I support the creation of association health care plans, which will enable small businesses, because there's not very many large corporations in the 8th District. It's mostly mom and pop shops, and they ought to have the ability to band together so that they can purchase insurance for their employees at the same discounts available to large corporations. That's only fair to make sure that the working class people of the 8th District, and in fact all the residents of the district, are entitled to affordable health care and insurance.
As a representative, you're representing those good people of America in that district. But you're taking that fine balance you have to walk, because there's a lot of them issues that are international. War and terrorism.
Absolutely.
Are you going to be tough on this? Where are you going to be with that?
Well, look, I've staked out a position that's based on experience. You know, I took last year, before becoming a candidate, took the initiative to fund my own trip to go to Iraq to assess the situation. I spent 5 days in Baghdad and in the central Iraq area, talking with our soldiers, assessing the conditions on the ground, speaking with Iraqi civilians, to understand so that when I go to Congress, I'm not just learning about it from the 6 o'clock news, like my opponent and so many other incumbents do. I'm addressing the issues from an informed perspective that was gathered by first-hand knowledge.
Well, what is your first-hand knowledge of it? What do you feel with that? How will that help you in your sense of serving our country?
Sure, absolutely. Well, it's about having that levels of detail so that when these discussions are made in Washington, it's not based on circumstantial evidence. It's based on, well, this is what I heard myself from the Iraqi people and from our soldiers on the ground. That's what I intend to do when elected.
Well, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
This hour's newsmaker has been George Ajjan, the Republican Party candidate for United States Congress in New Jersey's 8th District. I'm Joe Basikia. Remember to vote November 2nd.